a wish. It is through your determination and resilience that your dreams, your aspirations become a reality. Today is a celebration of this journey. The day you first discovered your passions. The instant you opened the door to your future. The challenges you overcame. The moment that you realized your hard work has gotten you here. Today, as you look around, remember a dedication to become the best version of who you were called to be. Our families, friends, and loved ones are all here to celebrate you, your gifts, your talents, and your fullest selves. We are forever Hoyas, together as people for others. Our horizons stretch beyond DC and the hilltop, ready to make an impact on the world. Class of 2023, it is time. It is our time. Hoya Saxa.
President DeGioia, Provost Groves, faculty and leaders of the school, Mr. Jason Kander, our distinguished speaker, honored guests, members of the university, and most importantly, members of the graduating class. Welcome to the 2023 School of Continuing Studies Commencement Ceremony. To begin the ceremony, I would like to ask that you please remain standing for the national anthem, which will be led by members of the Georgetown University Concert Choir and chamber singers under the direction of Professor Frederick Binkholder. Thank you, performers. I now welcome the Reverend Ebony Grissom, Interim Director of Protestant Christian Ministry at Georgetown University, to the podium to offer the invocation.
Will you pray with me? To the God of many names, thank you for the opportunity to see this day come to fruition. You are a keeper of your word, your promises, your people. We gather to celebrate and to thank you for these graduates whose diligent labor will manifest in their earned degrees, for their families and friends who, through shared joys, sorrows, and responsibilities at work, home, and school, have supported them every step of the way. For the faculty and staff whose encouragement and expert tutelage work together to create graduates. We ask that you accompany us through this celebration. Be with every speaker. May they speak with power and conviction, speaking the truth even if their voices shake. Be with every graduate. May they approach the podium confidently and steadily. Be in every handshake. May they be given and received with your power and in your love. As our commencement begins, we celebrate every accomplishment and savor every accolade, even as we remember those who are not with us today. We also remember that all of the graces, all of the good, all of this joy is ad majorem Dei gloriam, for the glory of God. Amen.
Please be seated. It is now my honor to present Dr. Robert Groves, Provost of Georgetown University, who will deliver the official welcome.
Thank you, Dean Otter. Welcome to the Hilltop campus of Georgetown University. It's a pleasure to see all of you, our graduates and guests, at this commencement ceremony for the School of Continuing Studies. I especially welcome those who have traveled from far away, and in particular those for whom this is the very first time on our Hilltop campus, which for over 230 years has educated its students to become leaders in service to the nation and to the world. Why, you may wonder, do we call graduation this word commencement? After all, this is an ending, not a beginning. You are about to leave. You have not just arrived, as several years of tuition payments make clear to you. Naming this event commencement is rooted in the very beginning of these ceremonies, in the Europe of the 12th century, when what we understand as universities first emerged. The gowns that you now wear, and the somewhat heavier gowns up here, the hoods on your arms, were the clothing stipulated for scholars. Warm hoods and gowns for unheated buildings, not the summer wear for a warm Washington May, although today is not a bad Washington May day. The ceremonies were called commencement because they marked beginnings, just as this ceremony does today. The beginning of your lives in the world, and we trust and we hope the beginning of your lives for the world as people for others. I must tell you that the world needs you badly right now. It needs your knowledge. It needs your skills, your idealism, your compassion, and your energy. And so you commence. The world is all before you now. We can't wait to witness your accomplishments in the coming years. You should know that we up here are very, very proud of you and your achievements that bring us to this day. Congratulations to all. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Provost Groves. Our founder, the Most Reverend John Carroll, first Archbishop of Baltimore and first Catholic bishop in the United States, took legal possession of land on our hilltop in 1789, and we mark that as our founding date. Our first student, the future North Carolina Congressman William Gaston, arrived in 1791, though our first bachelor's degrees were not awarded until 1817. It was in 1815 that, with enrollments passing the 100 mark, the college's president, Father John Grassi of the Society of Jesus, asked then Congressman Gaston to present a petition for a federal charter, a document that still today sanctions the academic business we do here. Georgetown's charter, the first federal charter in the history of the Republic, has the additional distinction of having been signed by President James Madison, the father of the United States Constitution. It is our custom to initiate academic ceremonies with a reading of that charter. To discharge that office, I am pleased to introduce Ms. Marie Matson, Secretary of the University.
An act concerning the College of Georgetown in the District of Columbia. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that it shall and may be lawful for such persons as now are, or from time to time may be, the president and directors of the College of Georgetown within the District of Columbia, to admit any of the students belonging to said college or other persons meriting academical honors to any degree in the faculties, arts, sciences, and liberal professions to which persons are usually admitted in other colleges and universities of the United States, and to issue in an appropriate form the diplomas or certificates which may be requisite to testify to the admission of such degree. Signed, Langdon Chivas, Speaker of the House of Representatives, John Gaillard, President pro tempore of the Senate, approved March 1st, 1815, James Madison, President of the United States.
We are honored to have as our special guest this afternoon Mr. Jason Kander. He will be presented with the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. The citation for Mr. Kander will be read by Trey Sullivan, Assistant Dean of Liberal Studies in the School of Continuing Studies.
Today, Georgetown University recognizes an alumnus of distinguished achievement in many fields. But Jason Kander's greatest achievement may be the way in which he has used his life to prove that adversity can be just another name for opportunity. Opportunity that can be seized if we stop believing each of us must make it on our own. Simply put, Jason Kander defends democracy, and he defends democracy's defenders. After the attacks on September 11th, while a law student at Georgetown, he joined the university's ROTC battalion and was commissioned as a military intelligence officer in the United States Army. He would go on to serve in Afghanistan, where he investigated corruption, espionage, and drug trafficking, regularly leaving the relative safety of the base while traveling in unarmored civilian vehicles and accompanied only by his translator. He achieved the rank of captain and was one of 10 national finalists for the Reserve Officer Association's Junior Officer of the Year Award. In 2008, he was elected to the Missouri House of Representatives. In 2012, he was elected Missouri Secretary of State, making him the first member of the millennial generation elected to an American statewide office. In 2016, he challenged an incumbent U.S. Senator, but narrowly lost despite outperforming the rest of his party's ticket by 16 percentage points. Yet not 3 months later, he founded Let America Vote, a national effort dedicated to ending voter suppression. Let America Vote would later merge with another organization to form the largest pro-democracy political advocacy group in the nation. He defends democracy. In 2018, Jason openly considered a 2020 presidential campaign, having been privately encouraged to do so by President Barack Obama, who stated publicly in his final Oval Office interview that Jason gave him hope for America's future. However, Jason ran instead for mayor of Kansas City, Missouri, where he was expected to win by an overwhelming margin. But to the shock of the political world, Jason abruptly ended his campaign for mayor months prior to Election Day, revealing in a public letter his decade-long struggle with post-traumatic stress disorder. He admitted that despite the fact that his mayoral victory was all but certain, he had begun having suicidal ideations and found himself on the phone with the Veterans Affairs crisis line. He had to confront what he had long been running away from, the undeniable trauma he suffered during his military service, as well as its profound impact on his wife and family. Jason emerged from treatment at the VA with an inspiring and powerful message for his fellow veterans. Post-traumatic growth is achievable and worth pursuing. He is also a staunch advocate for extending mental health care to military spouses and families whose secondary PTSD and other mental health needs all too often remain overlooked. He is the author of 2 New York Times best-selling books, his most recent being Invisible Storm, a soldier's memoir of politics and PTSD, in which he writes candidly about his years battling undiagnosed PTSD and recounts his experience in therapy with uncommon detail. For the past 4 years, Jason has served as president of national expansion at the Veterans Community Project, a nonprofit organization serving homeless and at-risk veterans with his villages of tiny homes, wraparound support services, and emergency assistance. In that time, Veterans Community Project has gone from a heralded local Kansas City social service agency to a leading national force in the effort to prevent veteran suicide and end veteran homelessness. He also remains vocal politically, primarily as the host of his award-winning podcast, Majority 54. After the U.S. military withdrew from Afghanistan, Jason founded the Afghan Rescue Project to assist in the evacuation of Afghans he had personally served alongside but had been left behind. Over the course of several successful operations, Afghan Rescue Project played a critical role in the evacuation of over 2,000 Afghan allies who would otherwise have experienced brutal retribution at the hands of the Taliban. He defends democracy's defenders. Truly, this is a man who has lived out in exemplary ways the 2 key Jesuit mottos, living as a man for others and always following the mandate of St. Ignatius, Magis, more, unceasingly more. For his decades of public service, for his advocacy for veterans, for his searing personal courage, and for proving that it is never too late to start again, Georgetown University, with great pride, bestows on Jason David Kander his 2nd Georgetown degree, Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Congress of the United States and by the Board of Directors of Georgetown University, I officially confer upon Mr. Kander the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. And it's now my pleasure to present to you Dr. Kander, who will give the commencement address.
Thanks. This is pretty cool. Thank you. President DeGioia, Provost Groves, Dean Otter, my new friend Trey, thank you very much for having me here. And most of all, congratulations to all of you. Let me be the first former politician to do that trick where I get an applause for me by saying, give yourselves a round of applause. Yeah. I will never forget the day during my senior year of high school when I came to this campus for the first time. I was visiting colleges. I came through the gates over there, and I looked this general direction, and I knew 100% deep in my heart that this is where I was supposed to go to college. I was excited about it. I just knew it. Georgetown blew me away from the very start. I, however, did not have the same effect on the admissions committee, which is why I went to American University. So this is pretty cool. I did eventually get into Georgetown Law School, and then here we are today. So much like the way in which I won over my wife, while I love Georgetown deeply, it regards me as an acquired taste. This is the School of Continuing Studies, which means that you've already all lived interesting lives and accomplished big things, and this is just the beginning of another chapter in your lives. And yet, ostensibly, given that this is a commencement address, it is sort of my job I guess, to implore you to give fully of yourself and to go out there and to just give everything you have to other people. That's generally how a commencement address works. But despite the fact that you just heard my background, I mean, I'm a military veteran turned politician, turned recovering politician, turned nonprofit executive. So that would seem like the commencement address that I would give you. So you might be surprised that I am not here today to inspire you to think of others. No, I am actually here today to inspire you to think of yourself. Yeah, feel free, sure. As a rule, feel free to applaud liberally. It's no problem. My message to you today is one that I learned the hard way, that there is nothing selfish about self-care, because if you don't take care of yourself, you won't change the world. But if you do, you just might. And to tell you how I learned this lesson, I have to fast forward past some of what you heard about, and that my dad is here and heard that. That's very special to me. Thank you. But some of what you heard there, I'm going to fast forward past my time in Afghanistan for a minute, past becoming the first millennial ever elected to statewide office, and even past the year or so that I spent basically running for president. Let me take you instead to the day before I dropped out of politics, the day that I went to the Kansas City VA's emergency room and ended up on suicide watch, which, believe it or not, this story is funny. But bear with me, it takes a minute. Suicide watch at the emergency room, in case you were wondering, is one of the few places where there's really nothing fun about being a local celebrity. Because as you're going through, it's not like people are unprofessional and asking for selfies or anything, but it's pretty evident that you're getting recognized, right? And people are kind of doing double takes, and frankly, that's kind of humiliating in that moment. And so as I'm moving through and they're taking me back to this basically holding cell, this room, it's a little mortifying that I keep getting recognized at that time. And then this guy comes down, a psych resident who was brand new, and it was pretty clear that he had no idea who I was. And I was very relieved by this at first. And so we talked for like 30 minutes, and I tell him a bunch of stuff that I had at that point in my life only told my wife about my PTSD symptoms. And after about a half hour, he asked me, he, I guess, decides that I'm not going to kill myself that day, so he's going to let me go. And he asked me, he says, by the way, do you have like a particularly stressful job or something? And I was like, well, I'm in politics. And he's like, what does that mean? And I said, well, you know, I told him all the stuff you just heard, but like shorter, because it'd be weird to recite that to him at that point. And I said, you know, earlier this year, I was getting ready to run for president, and then I decided to run for mayor, but I'm going to call that off, and I'm going to come here to the VA to get help. Sorry, hang on, I'm going to pause this story. So he says, president of what? And you gotta imagine it from his perspective. I'm a 37-year-old psych resident on suicide watch. I'm sitting on a stainless steel bed. My knees are pulled up to my chest, and my arms are wrapped around my knees, and I'm not even wearing my own clothes because they wouldn't let me have any of my own stuff, so I'm in scrubs that are like 4 sizes too big. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a presidential candidate. It's not a big deal. So he says, president of what? And I felt a little silly, but I said, of the United States. And he said, who told you you could run for president? And now I've gone from mortified that people recognize me to relieved that this guy didn't to like kind of irritated that he doesn't believe me. So I said, I don't know what to tell you, man. I sat with President Obama for like an hour and a half, just me and him in his office, and he seemed to think it was a pretty good idea. And he said, President Obama told you you could run for president. I'm like, yeah. And he thinks about this for a second. He kind of taps his notebook, and clearly he's choosing his words carefully, and he says, so how often would you say you hear voices? That was my first day at the VA. I got to that point in my life because I firmly believed that taking care of myself would be selfish. I learned a lot in the Army. I know that there's a lot of folks in this graduating class who were in the service. Raise your hand. Yeah. Thank you. So all those folks who just raised their hand, they learned what I learned, which is, I think, the first lesson that you get when you get off the bus at basic, which is that somebody has it worse. It's ground into you over and over again. So no matter what I was going through, someone was going through something worse, and therefore I should just suck it up and drive on. And when you're in a place like Afghanistan, it's actually kind of valuable to see the world that way because it allows you to keep doing a job that is dangerous and scary over and over again because you're like, somebody has it worse. But then you get home and you leave the military, and the belief that somebody has it worse and that therefore you have no right to stop and take care of yourself, it's no longer helpful. And I don't think it's just folks in the military that experience this. We all experience this in American society to some degree. And in fact, that belief, it becomes a real impediment to self-care. My PTSD symptoms, they started soon after I came home, but I dismissed them. I spit on them, really. So, I just let them get worse and worse. And because I felt that I had to constantly earn the fact that I'd come home safely and that I had these opportunities, and because I knew people who weren't as lucky as me. So stopping, addressing my problems, it felt selfish. And the only thing that didn't feel selfish was giving everything of myself. My goal each day when I woke up was to be fully spent by the end of that day. So if my eyes weren't burning with fatigue by the time my head hit the pillow, I felt that I had failed. And people would remind me all the time when I was campaigning, they'd say, politics is a marathon and not a sprint. And I would say, but if I sprint the whole marathon, I bet I'll probably win. Because in truth, all I was really doing was trying to outrun myself. My intrusive memories, my disruptive thoughts. I was desperate to avoid being alone with my brain, so I just kept trying to outrun it. And this had consequences. I got sick a lot. My back hurt pretty much all the time. But at least I wasn't selfish, I told myself. I often felt as though I was watching my life more than participating in it. And I was desperate to feel as though my coming home safely, while others had not, meant something. But even as I ascended in politics, there wasn't much evidence that I was really making that much of a difference. So I clung to what my wife refers to as vanity metrics. Elections I had won, attention I'd received, even the size of my social media following. But it was all a hollow substitute for the redemption that I was seeking, for the feeling that I had that I hadn't done enough for my country. You can make an impact in politics, but it's rarely tangible. And when it is, even that is often fleeting. Don't get me wrong, I did not come to Washington, D.C., to Georgetown University to try to steer you away from a career in politics. That'd be kind of dumb to do for a commencement address. You can make a difference there, but what was going on with me was something different. I didn't need to just make a difference. I needed to save the country, or the world, maybe. And I didn't think that I could do that without continually climbing the ladder. So each time I achieved something, I moved the goalposts on myself. So I constantly told myself the lie that if I could just do this or that, I'll feel better. I'll feel better when. That was the lie that I repeated to myself over, and I see some of you nodding. I'll feel better when. I'll feel better when I get this bill passed. I'll feel better when we hit our fundraising numbers. I'll feel better when we take a lead in the polls. I'll feel better when we win this election, and so on forever. One thing that I eventually became pretty sure of, sadly, was that I was failing as a husband and as a father. I was rarely home, and when I was rarely really there, as in fully present and in the moment. My son, True, used to say that sometimes he forgot that he had a daddy at all. My wife's brilliant and promising career had been put on hold in order to make way for mine, and I felt terrible guilt about that too. And then, almost 5 years ago, when my career was really at the best place that it had ever been, my mental health hit rock bottom, and my suicidal thoughts became more frequent, and it scared the hell out of me. And finally, I made the selfish decision to save my own life. And that's when I went to the VA and I met the fellow who thought that I heard voices. 6 months of outpatient therapy later, I entered a new chapter of my life, one which I refer to as post-traumatic growth. Therapy helped me understand that I've actually done quite a lot for my country. And today, in my view, America and I are square. I no longer think in terms of my career. Instead, I just think about how I want to spend my time. And I have a rule. I no longer do anything solely so that I can do something else. So when a new opportunity presents itself, I ask whether it's what I want to do, either because I care about it, or because it'll help people, or maybe just because it sounds fun. Diana's career, my wife's career, on the other hand, is flourishing. She has written 3 books. She's in demand as a speaker and as a consultant. I, meanwhile, am killing it as a husband and a father. Sure. Almost 2 years to the day after I announced to the world that I was stepping back from elected politics and going to the VA for help, Diana gave birth to our daughter, Bella. And I drop my kids off at school every morning, and I'm usually the one who's there in the afternoon to pick them up. And I do stuff for me, too. I play center field for the Kansas City Hustlers of the National Men's Adult Baseball League. Not softball, real baseball. My teammates are all ex-college and ex-pro players, and I spend a lot of time and work my butt off to remain the number 9 hitter in our lineup. My son, True, is our bat boy, and last summer he got an honorary doctorate in cussing as a result. He's 9. And it is cool to hear thousands of people chant your name at a political rally, but it is nothing compared to hearing your son yell, "Yeah, Dad," after you steal a base with a head-first slide. Like, that's better. And I drive a pickup truck because I always wanted to, and is loaded down with baseball equipment because I am True's Little League coach. And old me would look at new me with disgust. Old me would say, "How selfish are you being? You're just turned 42 years old, you have a lot of service left to give to the country. How are you not running for office? How are you not doing these things?" And maybe some of you are at a point in life where maybe you're kind of thinking the same thing about the story that I'm telling you. Or maybe you're thinking that the story can end right there, and it can stand for the idea that the impact that I'm having on my own family is proof enough that prioritizing your family isn't selfish and that it's already changing the world. I could make that argument to you. But here's the crazy thing. Now that I take care of myself, and now that I'm living the post-traumatic growth chapter of my life, I'm making a greater difference in the wider world than I ever did while pursuing or holding public office. When I first joined the Army, I was a Georgetown law student, and everybody asked me why I was choosing to become a soldier instead of a lawyer, to which I would say that my hope was that if I do a good enough job over there, that maybe I could help some people get home safely. But I never felt like there was something that I could point to say that I actually achieved that. And for over a decade after I came back from Afghanistan, that made me feel like I failed as a soldier, and I carried it around for a long time. But one morning, during those first few days after I told the world that I was stepping back from public life to go get help at the VA, I woke up to my wife sitting up in bed holding her phone. And she said, "I'm going to read you something astonishing." Apparently, since my announcement, calls to the VA crisis line had tripled across the country. This made me so emotional that I could barely get out the words, but I told Diana, I said, "This is the first time that I've ever felt like I helped some people get home safely." Thanks. I practice that part a lot so that I get through it without crying. Speaking and writing about mental health has extended me the incredible privilege of having people say to me on a regular basis that they heard or read my words and that it encouraged them to get help and that it saved their life. And I wish I could tell you how deeply that touches me every time and what a privilege that is for me. And because I got off the political treadmill and I opted out of the race for career immortality, I gifted myself the time to think about how I actually wanted to change the world. And on August 31st, 2021, the last few U.S. military planes left Afghanistan. And I and a few friends had spent the previous weeks trying and failing to get Afghans who we had served alongside on one of those flights. And now it seemed that all hope was lost. And the old me would have thought about my career first, would have thought that that was the way to derive meaning from the moment. And I would have been so busy going on cable news to defend the Biden administration that I would never have even considered going around the administration and trying to outwit from afar the Taliban troops who were actively hunting for our friends to whom we had made promises. People like my friend Rahim. But because I do what matters now, and I no longer do something so that I can do something else later, I did not quit on my friend Rahim and his family of 14. And when other vets came to us with their own Afghan allies that they wanted to get out, we didn't tell them it was hopeless either. Then we staged a 4-day fake wedding in Mazar-e Sharif to fool the Taliban into walking right past 371 people that they were actively hunting for, just before we put all of them on an Airbus 340 and flew them the hell out of danger. Thank you. And then we pulled it off several more times, which is how Afghan Rescue Project, a nonprofit I founded pretty much by accident, ended up saving over 2,000 Afghan men, women, and children. And 2 weeks from now, my friend Raheem and his family will finally arrive in Missouri, and my family and I will be there to welcome them home. And then finally, there's my day job. For the past 4 years, I've been the president of National Expansion at Veterans Community Project. We build outreach centers that serve every veteran, regardless of the nature of their service. You've likely heard the statistic that on average 20 veterans a day take their lives in America. What you probably never heard is the statistic within the statistic, which is that of those 20, on average 14 of them were not connected to any sort of veteran-specific services at all at the time that they took their life. And so by lowering the barrier of entry to pretty much nothing, each one of the outreach centers that we build across the country saves lives. But what we're best known for, actually, is our work to end veterans' homelessness. We build villages of tiny houses that are staffed with wraparound case management services. We help our brothers and sisters get back on their feet by restarting their military to civilian transition right back at day one. While they're guests with us in our village, we connect them with mental and physical health care, access benefits they've earned but aren't receiving, assist them with financial management, transportation, education, job skills. We even assist with everything from dental care and haircuts to getting them veterinary care for their animals. And because of our unique and personalized approach, we have an unprecedented 85% success rate when it comes to transitioning homeless veterans back into housed, fully functioning, and contributing members of civilian society. In short, what I do for a living now is I help veterans get home safely, every day. All because I stopped believing that putting myself first was selfish. You've all already done so much, and now you enter a new stage in your life, and it is my hope that you'll remember to take care of yourself, because, as I've learned, that is what allows you to change the world. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kander. We will now have the presentation of candidates for degrees in course. Candidates, please rise as your row is motioned forward, approach the stage, enter the ramp to my right, and exit to my left as you cross the stage. You will be congratulated by President DeGioia. I ask that the audience hold its applause until all candidates have crossed the stage. I invite Dr. Charles McNellis, Faculty Director of the Doctor of Liberal Studies program and Professor in the Department of Classics, to the podium.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Liberal Studies. Vincent Aman. Kevin Robert Bishop. Charlene Brown McKenzie. Jonathan Foster Everest. Johnny Victor Toma.
Candidates, please be seated. Will all the candidates for the degrees of Master of Arts in Liberal Studies, Master of Professional Studies, and Executive Master of Professional Studies please rise? Candidates, at this time, before we present you to the President, please don your hoods. Please be seated. I invite Dr. Charles McNellis, Faculty Director of the Master of Arts in Liberal Studies program and Professor in the Department of Classics, to the podium.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Liberal Studies. Lee A. Bowie. Si-Yi Kim. Geraldine McIntyre. Mr. John Charles Van Scooter III. Got it? Candidates, please be seated. Faculty Director Carol Feldman will now present the candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Journalism.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the candidates for the Master of Professional Studies in Journalism. Kara Brown. Liza Banks Campagna. Alicia Dunnigan. Kirsten Eric. Veronica Fernandez Alvarado. Richard Anthony Fowler, Jr. Nahawi Aisha Hope. Anushay Saeed Ibraz. Taya Jarrett. Samuel Lee. Mari Christopher Lemie. Wenjin Lo. Katie Marlowe Benedict. Aiden McLean. Maydeen Marino. Anastasia Obis. Nima Quadri. Annabelle Randolph. Jose Rascon. Miriam Samaki. Erin Joy Walsh. Candidates, please be seated. Professor Carol Blymeyer will now present the candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Public Relations and Corporate Communication.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Public Relations and Corporate Communications. Gedia Ahmed. Dana Al-Masri. Sarah Jayran Amin. Ahilan Amirthanayanagam. Jessica Anderson. Joy Michaela Badrow. Erin Bakes. Haley Madison Barr. Liza Brooke Barr. Stephen Ford Bates. Nina Baridze. Anna Bettina Bautista. Hadley Grace Biggs. Christine Bocchino. Diana Brown. Josie Berzink. Kiara Casanova. Aiden Cazares. Elias Chalela. Leslie Nakwama Chinre. Yasin Choi. Jillian Casio. Jacqueline Diaz. Owen Doherty. Kiana Donaldson. Megan Donnie. Morgan Elliott. Crystal Esio. Luis Enrique Fernandez Torres. Colby Phoeves. Anna Lee Flaherty. Maria Julia Flores. Molly Fresher. Isabel Gaitan. Fabiola Cristina de Lima Igoy. Victoria Goldfadib. Philip Graydon. Chloe Javene Horton. Danae Hyman. Saeed Mohammed Abuzar Iqbal. Danae Johnson. Shalimar Juan Roman. Jillian Kaler. Ilef Camber. Ariana Katsoulis. Talia Simone Lasciazza. Larissa Lamego. Oriana Luis Ramos. Amber Monique Logan. Samantha Ludden. Nicole Maddox. Alize Mahboub. Omar Mahmoud. Tatiana Moana Manaya. Hannah McDonald Moniz. Brendan Timothy McNamara. Timothy Milbrath. Noah Nubia. Christina Limson O'Connell. Erica Owens. Kayla Patterson. Hannah Cherie Payne. Alyssa Platts. Elizabeth Powell. Bailey Barano Rafter. Alyssa Rashaw. Amen Zara. Angelique Adams Wilkins. Kurt Riggs. Savannah Reimer. Sabrina Marie Santucci. Jessica Nicole Shangle. Amanda J. Spoo. Joshua Sweeten. Zachary Tanner. Mercedes Maria Uranga. Drishti Ram Vadva. Emily Pumphrey. Alexandra Accorsi. Karina Amos. Okay. Right now. Should I say it now? Candidates, please be seated. Faculty Director and Associate Professor of the Practice, Dr. Laquita Frederick, will now present the candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Sports Industry Management.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Sports Industry Management. Amable Aristi Cabrera. Trevor D. Bailey. Eric Allen Barber II. Taylor Barnes. Joseph Boone. Peter Brady. Christopher Brown. Michelle Bubin. Olivia Michelle Buckman. Aaliyah Butts. Brittany Cameron. Donald K. Carey. William Catalanello. Apologies. Ronald Mervyn Reginald Charles Jr. Yuhao Chin. Braxton and Tron Clark Jr. Tashawn Cox. Gabriel Cunha. Libby Terrell Davidson. Parker Hales Davis. Andre Cecil Trevor DeCuna. Kyle Dixon. Noah Dutzer. Daniel M. Faneroff. William Felix. Georgia Matos. Yesenia Garcia, Gabriel Anthony Gaskins, Hannah Seal Gieser, Noah Gooden, that did not match, Fernando Enrique Guzman Perez, Connor Paul Hartzell, Jaquan Hawkins, Ethan Matthew Heyman, Gregory Hiltska, Hunter Hauser, Stacy Nicole Hunt, Devin Christopher Hutardo, David J. Hutchinson, Kalichi Ibizum, Elazar Sherez Giovanni, Cameron Johnson, Deontay Johnson, Maya Danielle Jones, Anna Cafton, Minj Kang, Tommy Knopf, Joseph Lavoy, Ching-Wei Lee King David, Jingzhao Li, Madison Little, Peyton Elizabeth Loving, Damon Ma, Colin Marr, James R. May, Eddie J. McClendon, Asia Lisette McMillan, Sade Sheree Amala Means, Cooper Jackson Melton, Jeffrey Messman, Daniel E. Mumphrey, Angel Imani Neal, Scott Michael Oberg, Michael Finian O'Brien, Ngawa Violet Onuku, Brian O'Reilly, Thelma Lisette Ortega, Isaiah Parks, Olivia Elizabeth Peters, Paige Inez Price, Samuel Ratner, Miles Ripley, Lindsay Nicole Ritter, Seth Roberts, Gislina Saul, Charlene Scott, Paul Shackerford II, Gabe Sherman, Landon Schaffner, Dickie Simpkins, Darian Smith, Quinn Snyder, Deja Stallings, Matthew Solomon, Aaron Stevenson, Xiao Su, Danny Terrace, Ramona Teeter, Yaya Thabit, Christopher Harley Thayer, Allison Veach, Sarah Teresa Vegan, Christina Summer Votline, Nicholas Voda, Kyle Michael Wada, Nathaniel William Walsh, Ziyao Hao Wang, Darren Taylor White, Taylor Shay Wilson, Tracy Nicole Wilson, Alexandra Marie Wood, Jonah Woolley, Craven Anthony Wright, Zhao Xiang, Zhaoyu Young, Reagan Alexander Yates, Wajing Wang, Dazi U, David Eric Zubrennen. Do I wait for them all to sit? Because it does say to sit. Just go ahead and read it. Candidates, please be seated. Faculty Director and Associate Professor of the Practice, Glenn Williamson, will now present the candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Real Estate.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Real Estate. Ariel Cristina Abella Busto, John Cole Adams, Ishmam Ahmed, Ella Marie Anderson, Alexander Andrews, Arshad Bacchus, Bo Dennison Bailey, Sean Bajwa, Keith Bass Jr., Teresa Ann Bertinoli, Nicholas Borick, Carl B. Boswell, Ainsley Brockway Finlay, Kendall D. Brooks, Jr., Whitney N. Brubaker, Jerome Lee Birch, Malachi Burke, Megan Elizabeth Burrows, Nicholas George Catranis, Craig A. Celia, Greg Sarasulo, Emma Helstovsky, James G. Chrysos, Ryan Patrick Converse, Nicholas Cox, Adam M. Deragish, Lamar Eugene Dixon, Drew Aaron Disler, Brendan Dornblazer, Daniel Edwards, Jordy Fabian, Madison Elizabeth Fairbanks, Judith Eggert Flores, Daniel Marie Forbes, James K. Fowler, Jr., David Franco, Matthew Genovese, DeWarren Gibson, Jr., Jeremy Gilston, Eugenia Gonzalez, Kyle Gray, Dennis Mounier Green, Ian Jan Hackett, Karen Harper, Andrew Hayward, Tarek Helika, Inia Holodnyuk, Luke Heinsohn, Jonathan Edward Howard, Bear Hutchinson, Daniel Vicente Inmaculado Funaro, Harrison Gregory Isaacs, Maria Yankovic, Carol Jenkins, Patrick Jenkins, Andrew Ryan Jordan, Naib J. Callender, Amanda Melissa Kaiser, Gifan Kim, Peter Bradford Klein, Judith Amy Klein Romero, Jason Korth, Jessica Therese Caldwell, Deanna Zorina Kruger, Hannah Lamott, Thomas Ko Lee, Maggie Ka-E Lay, Meredith Lynn Lenore, Olivia LaRue, Shelby Locke, Heinz Jürgen McSwain, Nelson S. Maldonado, Amy Denise Mathis, Paola Mayorga, Kimberly Pilling McGeehee, Ryan Powers McShay, Drew Miles, Holt Mountcastle, Jose Armando Noriega, Sean Kingsley O'Brien, Stephen Olson, Francisco J. Padilla, Juan Pablo Padilla, Zachary Pagel, Gemma Parsons Ruggiero, Dhaval Patel, Jimmy, Timothy Perkins Jr., Seth Peterman, Vinita Rose Fonseca, Alexandra Porter, Jonathan Riedinger, Philip William Robertshaw, Jimmy Robinson, Nicholas Roman, Matthew Sachs, Joseph Sandor, Yasmin Sifriwi Lloyd, Scott Silver, Heather Scala, Stacy Skillern, Adam Michael Smith, Kim L. Smith, Mark Spector, Jonathan Stefkovich, Michael Steinmetz, Parker Samuel Stevens, Dilshan Subasinger, Ahmed Mukhtar Sultan, Michael Joseph Sutmeyer III, Nicholas Swykovsky, Aster Adis Thomas, Christopher Thompson, Stephen J. Valaquette, Margaret White Viola, Spencer Ward, Ryan Patrick Wayman, Brian Wynn, Leslie Boyd Young, Zena Williams. Candidates, please be seated. Faculty Director and Professor of the Practice, Dr. Ifedapo Adeleye, will now present the candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Human Resources Management.
President DeJoy, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Human Resources Management. Olatoyosi Adekoya, Rema Ibrahim Al-Hussein, Rebecca Ali, Sakina Arij, Alexandra Morgan Armstrong, Melissa Ayala Porte, Daniel Bailey, Emil Irene Brandon, Abigail Chupin, Billy Couchman, Kira Masay Craig, Radhika P. Desai, Stacy Amelia Fells, Maria C. Fernandez, Marta Fernandez, Laura Beth Hutchinson Foster, Catherine A. Frickley, Teresa Garcia Batista, Noel Gibson Spivey, Kiva Enlin Batiste, Nicole Ains, Olivia S., Paula Ceballos, Rosie Margarita Martinez, Colleen P. McCaffrey, Caitlin Memen, Alexandra Miller, Edlin Moreno, Lori Ann Moyer, Piyusha Notani, Chioma Elsie Okoye Igwe, Amela Olovic, Angela Oteng, Ibrahim Owolabi, Kaylee Daniel Penn, Emily Prusik, Antonia Elizabeth Provost, Karen Vanessa Ruff Northey, Pela Salazar, Sitora Scheibner, Drew Slavic, Christina Sobchak, Mavra Tabir, Don Topman, John M. Tooley, Leilana Vituson Gavulu, Heidi Moyer Wolf. Thank you. Thanks. Candidates, please be seated. Faculty Director and Professor of the Practice, Dr. Frederick Lemieux, will now present the candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Technology Management and Master of Professional Studies in Systems Engineering Management.
President DeJoya, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Masters of Professional Studies in Technology Management. Sarah U. Abdelkalek, Lalit Argawal, Christopher Aleto, Zara Banks, Amjit Badru, Charles G. Burt, Carl Cahill, Lisa Thompson Campbell, Grace Cruson, Yunyan Chen Diani, Samuel Lynn Cloud, Robert Cooper, Alina Danilchenko, Joseph Dark, Indra Newell Das, Brianna Dido, Gulinal de Mirer, Idris Enayat, D. Marco Jazhan Ewings, Dina Mary Falkowski, Mariam Fatazadeh, Iru Fernando, Rima Garash, Richard R. Garcia, Hector Gonzalez, Lyric Graham, Darius Gilroy, Robert Mann Hamlet Jr., Walker Hart, Dominique Alexandria Inton, Rada Iliva, Talene Ivy, Shalini Jain, Kevin Zhang, Connor Johnson, Christian D. Jones, Kate Key, Fadil Khan, Tamzin Kap, Sunan Krishnan, Ricardo Lowe Cooper, Kenneth Lide, Siki Luo, Sabi Malik, Antoine Darnell Matthews, Charles MacDonald, Kelly Mitchell, James Edward Mullin III, Brianna Nguyen, Carissa Nguyen, Justin P. Jenga, Toshi Obioa Odosha, Christine Palmer, Mandy Paquin, Mikala Piazza, Colin Pollard, Joseph Prignitz, Heather Reuters, Lamar Rogers, Tracy L. Rosano, Eric Salig, Julia Grace Scott, Rohan Shah, Megan Sharifi, Riley Stevens, Tsutomu Tom Takada, Marisa Taylor, Katrina Trompeta, Danielle Uzo Kwe, Thomas Walker II, Thelonious Walker II, James White III, Natamon Wangsala, Yonghu Stefano Kwon, Xajin Xu, Naomi Sesim Yoshino, Candidate, please be seated. President DeGioia, I have now the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Masters of Professional Studies in System Engineering Management. Corey J. Woods. Candidate, please be seated. Faculty Director and Professor of the Practice, Uva Brandis, will now present the candidates for the degree of Masters of Professional Studies in Urban and Regional Planning.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Urban and Regional Planning. Pedram Aydon. Cynthia Ann Cuestas. Verone Lynn Bernard. Brett Brown. Emily Jolene Carson. Grant Duval. Sydney Faith Imelda Holmes. Patricia de la Caridad Marrero. Landis Masnor. Sade Mond. Hannah Puz. Amy Elizabeth Saginaw. Madeline Abigail Samet. Anna Stratecki. Nathan Teets. Christopher Michael Weir. Anthony Willingham. Yiying Zhao. Candidates, please be seated. Faculty Director and Associate Professor of the Practice, Dr. Aaron Tucker Oluwole, will now present the candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Global Hospitality Leadership.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Global Hospitality Leadership. S. Lovie Parker. Lisa Ann Billock. Alice Connell. Hollensteiner. Xiang Cheng. Candidates, please be seated. Faculty Director and Associate Professor of the Practice, Wendy Zajac, will now present the candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Integrated Marketing Communications and Masters of Professional Studies in Design Management and Communications.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Masters of Professional Studies in Integrated Marketing Communications. Shams Alizada, Daniela Benitez, Hamnat Johannes Bure, Madeline Hannah Black, Cedric Bowie, Darian Bridgers, Devin Francis Burks Beaufort, Crisa Cantras Cintron, Raymond Carlos Cruz, Denise Castillo, Madeline Kaywood, Krista Chapman, Ching Chi Carissa Ip, Yu Min Jennifer Chung, Lee Okosti, Jordan Malcolm Craig, Rachel Curtis, Yawain Ding, Emily Eastman, Alexandra Gabrielle Fair Degato, Amanda Fraterelli, Denise Gallegos, Kimball Gardner, Sarah Alexis Gershman, Brooke Giles, Joelle Figueroa Hecker, Josh Hellebrand, Charles Beauchamp Hinnett, Ashley House, Paulina Juristi, Fahad Khan, Anna Cormus, Marissa Ann Cunneth, Ejim Corral, Abigail Levitt, Mengwan Lee, Xiaoyan Lee, Shannon Elizabeth Lippy, Nisa Lynch, Dee Mung, Nartavius Irvin Myers, Margaret F. Mildrew, Sabrina Mohan, Alexandra Catherine Mullane, Tatiana Murel Luna, Michelle Brianna Najarian, Margarita Isabel Quail Navarsa, Anitu Nimikahu, Andrew O'Keefe, Sydney Riley Oshevsky, Hayoing Chiao, Amelia Rodriguez, Hillary K. Gaston, Tanya W. Saliba, Dominique Satterwhite, Minghao Shang, Michaela Joy Smith, Courtney N. Swenumson, Nisha Talati, Perrin Tatiratanan, Emily Megan Tempchin, Maya Thompson. Jessica Marie Walsh. Caroline Williams. Erica K. Winter. And last but not least, Naveen Sultan. Sadly, Naveen cannot be here today. Naveen, we are praying for your early return to good health. President DeGioia, I have the honor to present the following candidates for the degree of Masters of Professional Studies in Design Management Communications. Grace Amani Bulalaba. Courtney Jordan Carell. Shandari A. Crawford. Lee Dixon. Waifa Faraz Habal. Ellie Mershinki. Carla Owens Felice. Nicole Parks. Sydney Nicole Porter. Sean Raposa. Elise Marie Reeves. Nia Simone Reed. Deanna Scher. Alisa Tom. Brooke Ullman. Gina M. Von Tress. Iris Vukmanovic. Kaylee Adele White. Candidates, please be seated. Faculty Director and Associate Professor of the Practice, George Moskoglu, will now present the candidates for the degree of Masters of Professional Studies in Project Management.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Project Management. Lucita Aburto. Priscilla Baez Bueno. Elibel Berrios. Cecily Camilo. Laura Carmona. Sandra Casas. Linford A. Kojo. Maria Paula Duque. Rodrigo Falcao. Justin Taylor Fontenot. Nathaniel Christopher Fowler. Hurier R. Gasripur. Arpita Ghosh. Daniel D. Hansen. Dexter D.H. Harris. Nida Aid Hilane. Amanda Y. Son. Sarah Jo Kempfer. Eugene Trini Kim. Brian Reyuta Knight. Kimi Lamano. Genevieve Clara Landers. Gracia Maria Litano. Jonathan Lontoño, Laura Martinez, Nicholas Mbezwe Daniel, Yogana T. Mercer Bay, Kevin Moore, Lourdes Moreno Scott, Michelle Linda Mugeni, Mia Osuji, Dominic Martin Richardson, Jason Rosales, Julia Rosendahl, Cody Simon, Urusa Srestha, Ryan Spader, Ashley Christine Elliott Spanagel, Patrick Michael Labastille Taylor, Alejandro Viesca, candidates, please be seated. Faculty Director and Professor of the Practice, Dr. Tim Frazier, will now present the candidates for the degrees of Master of Professional Studies in Emergency and Disaster Management and Executive Master of Professional Studies in Emergency and Disaster Management.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Masters of Professional Studies in Emergency and Disaster Management. Catherine Austin, David Joseph Bartles, Natasha Abrams, Layla Blaze, Monica F. Broham, Matthew Deere, Jerome Denise, Maria Freeman, Jasmine Gould, Sarah Iman Hanaf, Benjamin R. Johnson, Gajida Khan, Gregory R. Lavalley, Joan Feasley Lawson, Samuel Monica, Kathleen Rita McCoy, Casey James Olson, Michael Pranita, Sean R. Quinn, Casey L. Resnicek, George Robbins, Brent D. Stoll, Alexandria J. Tanoshki, Dorcas Twim, Laura Valera. That's it. Candidates, please be seated. President DeGioia, I now have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Executive Masters of Professional Studies in Emergency and Disaster Management. Saud M. Altabai, Jose V. Bercelloni, Lauren McBurney Catalano, Jason M. Sella, Barbara Chow, Frank R. Dinesh, Wayne C. Downs, Milton L. Dutch, Jr., Jose A. Figueroa, Anita Gould, Timothy J. Hamilton, Ryan Christopher Huntley, Katie Rebecca Watson, Mary Varnez, Yusuf H. Albadar, candidates, please be seated. Faculty Director and Professor of the Practice, Dr. Frederick Lemieux, will now present the candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Applied Intelligence and Master of Professional Studies in Cybersecurity Risk Management.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Masters of Professional Studies in Applied Intelligence. Lauren Acarino, Alison Rakers, Christopher Alvarado, Matthew Anderson, Christopher Apollon, Sheldon Ray Allen Baratico, Alexandria Batista, Keith R. Belain, Brian Lee Bell, Anya Berry, Aaron David Bettinger, Jessica Brandner, Eric Castro, Kenzie Saravolo, Erika Chandler Dyer, Erika Shukura, Kaylin Emily Cook, Mariana J. Dixon, Maria Dispino, Catherine Brooke Fialo, Alexandria Flores, Mikala Colette Ford, Sally Bayati, Joseph Francis, Sean L. Friedel, Sarah Margaret Gamble, Tyler Gapinski, Stephen Gardella, Naomi Gashu, Mallory Gibson, Sarah Elizabeth Green, Andrew M. Hand, Madeline Lee Harris, Abida Hakim A. Hassan, Melvin R. Hempstead, Aaron Howell, Ilya Uman, Zachary Ontsaker, Sarah Ray Johnke, Emily Johnson, Kulwan Kaur, Kia Amani Mohammed Khalil, Trevor Kirshner, Nicole Comstead, Ada Lastiri, Lucy M. Laylor, Claire Yeji Lee, Pirapon Lila Sikitiku, Paris Valentina Lords, Riley Lynch, Janelle Manning, Samantha S. Manocchio, Jado Masawi, Pearson Jason Maitika, Hannah Matums, Alexander Mattison, Nicholas P. Mayer, Cortland McCullough, Lauren McGuire, Ernesto Gregorio Medina Jr., Tessa Merkel, Matthew J. Miskanik, Hannah Mitchell, Tristan C. Mohammed, Kate Michael Moody, Sharon Moose, Christopher Neighbors, Henry Palacios, Morgan Elizabeth Parkin, Kate Pinchot, Gerrit John Ramirez, Christopher Robin Rowe, Matthew Repko, Catherine Rivera Torres, Kirit Rizvi, Nadira Elizabeth Roberts, Erin Rudy, Jasmine Lizette Sanchez, Sabrina Schmidt, Madison Ope Sizeman, La Shana Wilson, Shubham Sharma, Emily Sheehan, Kevin William Smith, Jasmine Solorzano, Dimitri Spence, Joel Steele, Ashley M. Stewart, Garrett C. Toy, Selmeg Ozibaya, Eric Vandenberg, Thomas Verazzi, Whitney Vervoda, Gabrielle DeClaire Lilvaya, Kelsey Walsh, Michaela Warren, Tamar Page Wenger, Trent Wieland, Rose Winters, Connie Ewan, Joy M.Z., Candidate, please be seated. President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Masters of Professional Studies in Cybersecurity Risk Management. Maxwell K. Addo, Shuvo Bardan, Patrick N. Berker, Michael J. Burns, Ryan Carlton, Marta Cody, Eric Coots, Teresa Marie Pico, Andre A. Elsie, easily, Youssef Nidal El Basha, Mr. Derek E. Ewan, Michael Feinberg, Kim A. Freites, Ian A. Garnes. Margaret Sloan Marchand Surratt. Nora Joy Grandi. Noor Ahmed. John Henkel. Richard Hughes. Brina Zakia Johnson. Niti John Shea. William Cam Bogo. Yannick Kamler Nijit. Amik Khan. Christina Kukarina. Jake Milik. Christine Nizinska. Gregory Nowitzki. Sean S. Patwell. Lauren Powell. Afsana Rahman. Stephen Raimundo. Alexander K. Reeves. Carla Rourke. Tijira Binsun. Douglas Rose. Lauren Elizabeth Schmugger. Jacqueline Scott. Ayesha Shafkat. Aman Shah. Kevin Duan Smith. Scott Smolin. Sarah Mahmoud Soliman. Carlos Sowell. Cherinit Yidbarek Tessima. Camilo Valencia Franco. Parker Warden. Michelle A. Watkis. Sophia Wee Lan. Justin Whitaker. Jung Yeon Kim. Kennedy M. Taylor. Candidate, please be seated. Faculty Director and Associate Professor of the Practice, Dr. Stephanie Kim, will now present the candidate for the degree of Masters of Professional Studies in Higher Education Administration.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Higher Education Administration. Elise Gabrielle Annette. Alberto Barcenas. Dane Patrick Brennan. Cameron Vincent Terrell Combs. Alexis Green. Ali Horan. Mariama Coker Callan. Nat R. Kapp. Michelle Codia. Kayla Jordan Martinez. Julia Shaw. Candidates, please be seated. Faculty Director and Assistant Professor of the Practice, Linda Dunn, will now present the candidates for the degree of Master of Professional Studies in Supply Chain Management.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Master of Supply Chain Management. Nicole Naomi Arias. Haley Armentrout. Pierre-Paul Berdet-Lero. Grace Belden. Drew Jeffrey Butler. Colin Chambers. Rafia Chaudhry. Russell Crispin. Yvette Angelina Cumming. Ryan Patrick Dowdle. Jasmine Irvin. Dylan Gomez. Heewon Lee. Jin Liang. Stanislav Nazarov. Anthony Sean Redfern. Andrew Sarsfield. Brian James Schooner. Madison Noel Spencer. Mashid Darby.
Candidates, please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies please rise? Candidates, at this time, before we present you to the President, please don your hoods. I invite Dr. Michelle Anona, Faculty Director and Assistant Professor of the Practice for the Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies program, to the podium.
President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies. Omar El-Shogre. Gabrielle Martine Atuna Rivera. Jerners Chowdhury. Kumba Diouf. Giovanni Israel Guerra. Manal Inslee. Erica Lake. Adrienne Elaine Lamptey. Anna March Cruz. Marin McConan. Andrew C. Rhodes. Shane Rose. Austin Hansen.
Candidates, please be seated. Doctor of Liberal Studies candidates, please rise. President DeGioia, these students have been duly examined and recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Directors. I therefore ask that you bestow upon them the degree and course.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Congress of the United States and by the Board of Directors of Georgetown University, I officially confer upon these candidates the degree of Doctor of Liberal Studies. Congratulations.
Graduate, please be seated. Will all the candidates for the Master of Arts in Liberal Studies, Master of Professional Studies, and Executive Master of Professional Studies degrees please rise? President DeGioia. President DeGioia, these candidates have been duly examined and recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Directors. I therefore ask that you bestow upon them the degrees and course.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Congress of the United States and by the Board of Directors of Georgetown University, I officially confer upon these candidates the degrees Master of Arts in Liberal Studies, Master of Professional Studies, and Executive Master of Professional Studies. Congratulations.
Graduates, please be seated. Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies candidates, please rise. President DeGioia, these students have been duly examined and recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Directors. I therefore ask that you bestow upon them the degree and course.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Congress of the United States and by the Board of Directors of Georgetown University, I officially confer upon these candidates the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies. Congratulations.
Graduates, please be seated. I now invite the faculty, family, and friends of the graduates to join me in congratulating all of these students on their achievements. And now, graduates, please rise and look around at all of those who have supported you during your time at Georgetown. Join me in offering a round of applause to thank your families, friends, and instructors for all of the support and encouragement they have provided you. Please be seated. It is now my honor to invite the 48th President of Georgetown University, Dr. John Day DeGioia, to offer closing reflections.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. What a special day, this day of celebration. And each of you have earned your place among the graduates of Georgetown University. This is a day of gratitude. Thank you to the families and loved ones, mentors, friends, colleagues, and peers who have supported our graduates. We're honored to share this moment with you. I wish to offer my sincere appreciation to Dean Otter and to our faculty and our staff for all of their efforts to support and guide our graduates to this milestone. These colleagues, many seated behind me, have demonstrated extraordinary care and commitment to teaching and mentorship, to research and scholarship, and to supporting a vibrant and diverse community. To our faculty and staff, thank you for your many contributions every day that have made this day possible. Our ceremony is made that much more special with the reflections of our speaker. And Jason, thank you for joining us and for sharing your inspiration, your perspective, and your insights with our graduates. To the class of 2023, congratulations. This day of celebration, this day of gratitude, this is your day. So much has been asked of you over these past few years. You have forged community during the most difficult of circumstances. You have faced challenges none of us could have imagined only a few years ago. You've gained knowledge and experience, a deeper understanding of yourself and our world. Your hard work, your dedication, your commitment to service and to the common good, everything that you have done at Georgetown has brought you to this moment. As members of this community, we have been shaped by a way of life, our experiences animated by a tradition of learning, a tradition of engagement, a tradition of service. Deeply rooted in our Catholic and Jesuit identity, this tradition calls on all of us, with our skills and our talents and our passions, to recognize the dignity of each person and to work for a more just and equitable society. It was 50 years ago this summer, in July 1973, that Father Pedro Arrupe offered an address in Valencia, Spain, to a group of Jesuit alumni on the goals of Jesuit education. He was the superior general, the leader of the Society of Jesus at that time. In this role, Father Arrupe enlivened the mission set forth by St. Ignatius of Loyola and the first Jesuits 5 centuries earlier. And in his 1973 address, he addressed a call that has guided Jesuit education over these past 50 years. He invited us to serve others, to love others, to, in his words, quote, get out of ourselves and give ourselves to others in love. Love, which is our definitive and all-embracing dimension, that which gives meaning to all our other dimensions. This is the tradition in which you've been educated. Each generation at Georgetown has a responsibility to imagine and reimagine this tradition and to bring to life this call in this moment. You carry this tradition with you today, a tradition that is animated by a spirit of renewal and change, a tradition whose resources can help sustain you and guide you in all that you may face in the years ahead. As Father Arrupe says, and I quote, there is something which lies at the very center of the Ignatian spirit. It enables us to renew ourselves ceaselessly and to adapt ourselves to new situations as they arise. Close quote. Where after these years here, your work with your faculty, with one another, in your activities, in your research, in your service, you have immersed yourself in this way of life and this tradition that has prepared you to go out into the world and to face the challenges and the opportunities ahead. You go forth this day to be prepared to be a source of renewal, a source that can transform our world so that all people can flourish. When you joined our community, you embarked on a journey, one that now continues beyond this place and beyond this moment. And as you enter the next stages of your journeys, you do so not only with the knowledge that you have learned, but also with the values that have shaped your lives here, the character that you have forged. All of you are prepared to bring your talents, your knowledge, your compassion, and your imagination out into our world. And as you depart on this day of celebration and accomplishment, we're so deeply grateful for all the contributions that you have made to this community, and we look forward to the ways that your leadership and your service will contribute to the common good of the broader communities in which you will participate. It is a privilege for us to be here with all of you to recognize this important milestone in your lives and the beginning of the next step on your journeys. And now with this commencement, you embark on another special time in your lives. This is your time, and we're honored to share this moment with you. To the graduating class of 2023, congratulations.
Graduates, today you join the community of women and men of Georgetown University, whose blue and gray colors adorn your hoods and gowns. Georgetown's colors, adopted in the aftermath of the Civil War, symbolize this community's commitment, then and now, to healing, reconciliation, inclusion, and hope. And they figure prominently in Georgetown's alma mater, which I now ask you to rise and join us in singing. The alma mater will be led by members of the Georgetown University Concert Choir and chamber singers. The lyrics and music are printed in the back of the commencement program book. After the alma mater is played, please remain standing for the benediction, which will be delivered by Rabbi Rachel Gartner, Senior Advisor for Spiritual Care at the School of Continuing Studies.
Friends, my tradition, Judaism, teaches Baruch atah b'voacha u'baruch atah b'tzeitecha. Blessed are you in your comings and your goings, as you arrive and as you take leave. In the language of my Muslim sisters and brothers, we say, Elf Mabruk, 1,000 blessings in your comings and goings. We arrived here this morning and we will leave this afternoon carrying in our hearts our dear friend and student, Naveen Sultan. We pray that God be with her on her journey and with her family on theirs, as we too hold them in love as they travel the path ahead. So let us pray. Beloved one, our God, who we call by so many names, bless our graduates, their teachers, their families, their friends. Bless their comings and goings. Bless all of us who have arrived here with a humble gratitude and an audacious joy for
for every lesson, every person, every bit of hard work, every ounce of grace that has brought each of us to this place in this moment. Bless the School of Continuing Studies graduates as they go forth from these gates. May the work of their hands and hearts in the years ahead flourish. Inspire them to live every day for themselves and for the common good. At the end of each day ahead, may they rest in the satisfaction not only from the material success of the day, but from knowing that that day they strive to live in accordance with their truest values. They aspire to bring their best and most authentic selves to one another, and that they work to bring our world just a little bit closer to how it was meant to be. God, energize us and let us rest. Re-energize us and let us rest, so we can prove that adversity can be just another name for opportunity, one seized if we stop believing each of us must make it on their own. One day, may the abundant goodness of this beautiful world rest equally in the hands of each and every one of the earth's inhabitants. Until that day comes, accompany our graduates and their families, our faculty and our staff and our friends on their way. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ha'oseh hashalom. May you go forth in peace and bring peace wherever you go. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Gartner. Before we all make our way to the reception to celebrate our graduates, I'd like to offer a few closing thoughts. The class of 2023 is one of SES's largest graduating classes to date. With more than 1,300 total graduates, there are nearly 900 present here today to mark this tremendous milestone. You all represent our dynamic community in so many ways. You are diverse, you are international, you embody many intersectional identities and experiences. You are not only future leaders of your industries, but in keeping with Georgetown's Jesuit heritage and values, you are also committed to lifting up your communities. This milestone is all the more meaningful in light of the profound challenges many of you have overcome to earn your degrees. Throughout your time as students, you have persevered. You've chosen neither to retreat nor to slow down. You've remained committed to your academic and professional advancement, all while fulfilling demanding personal and family obligations. The world needs your resilience, your conviction, and your leadership. I am deeply proud of the class of 2023. This is a time to celebrate your achievement. I also hope you take a moment to give thanks to your family and friends and teachers who have supported you along the way. Finally, no matter where you go, remember that you are Hoyas for life. You will always have a community that welcomes you with open arms. Thank you and congratulations. And now, a few logistical details as we conclude our ceremony. During the recessional, the platform party will exit first, followed by our graduates. I ask that our guests remain standing at their seats and do not enter the aisles until those on the stage and all of our graduates have departed. The ushers will then invite you to depart. Graduating students will continue in line, exiting from the front row first in the recessional and go directly to either the Healy Family Student Center or Leo O'Donovan Hall, where they will await your congratulations. You are all invited to join us at the receptions in honor of the graduates. Please note the signage at the entrance of each reception, which will indicate which academic programs are in each location. The 2023 commencement exercises for Georgetown University's School of Continuing Studies are now officially closed. Congratulations, graduates.